Do you want to vanish into thin air? Well, apparently Sadhguru has all the answers and tells us how to do that. Craziness, I know, but we're going to get into it today. Apparently, humanity and humans can control the elements. Did you know that? Apparently, Sadhguru knows how. This is wild. Sadhguru has 12 million subscribers, tons of views, very popular Hindu philosopher. Today, we are going to look at his statements, and we're going to examine them through the lens of the Christian belief. We're going to look at them through a theistic Christian perspective. You can't afford to miss this video, so don't forget, if you like this analysis, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share so that our Hindu friends can be warned of the dangers of Hinduism. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
How these five elements behave within you will determine just about everything.
So he's saying that how the elements behave within you, especially the fire elements, how they behave in you can determine everything. Now, big problem here is that does what's happening within me determine everything? Do elements within me, or do elements even outside of me, control me or influence me and determine everything for me? According to the Word of God, no. I believe God determines for me what ought to happen, and also he gives me freedom of choice to choose in which direction I go and what to do and how to behave and how to act. So I don't think that's appropriate. Let's keep going.
Shiva.
Now what's interesting here, he evokes Shiva. He talks about Shiva. We're going to get into this presentation about Shiva and the dangers with regards to it.
Who is referred to as Bhuteshwara, attained what is called as Bhuta Siddhi, that is complete mastery over the five elements.
So talking about mastery over the elements. The question is that for humanity to have? Is humanity supposed to have mastery over the elements, and through mastery of these elements we somehow, obtain like freedom and having ultimate control? That's wishy-washy, it's weird. Let's keep going.
Anyone who has attained to Bhuta Siddhi can dematerialize his own body.
Now here's the big question. Anyone who's attained the Bhuta Siddhi can now dematerialize their own body. Do you want to cease to exist? Do you want to dematerialize into nothingness? I don't know. As for me, I kind of want to exist. I kind of want to be here. You know what I mean? This is not something to be pursued as maybe this is some type of spiritual, thrill seeking. Maybe that's the pull here. Oh, can I dematerialize myself? Let's go for it. Let's try. I think that might be the pull here. And let me tell you, that's dangerous type of thrill seeking, to try to dematerialize yourself, okay?
You have heard of yogis who go into your room, locked from outside, and when they open, nothing is there. Not a trace of that person. That is, he's not dead, you don't find his body, you don't find his ashes, you don't find anything, he's simply gone, because he dematerializes his own physical system. So one who has mastery over the five elements, one who has what we are referring to as Bhuta Siddhi, can not only integrate, can also disintegrate his own system. It recently happened.
So he says that someone who's obtained mastery over the elements, especially the fire elements, well, he can dematerialize his own body, and it's supposed to be just, this cool experience. And he says, well, it's happened. Now, look at what he has to say here. He says it's happened, but he won't tell you where. Take a look.
I don't want to name the place because then all of you will start making a tour to that place.
So he doesn't want to say where this happened, okay? So the people listening to him would make this big, large pilgrimage to go see it in some sort of act of awe, and this happened here. I highly, it's very suggestive, whether or not this actually did happen. Okay? He's likely not telling you where it happened because it actually never did happen. Maybe, right? Let's think. Let's be critical thinkers here, right? It's pretty wild. So as we're getting into this, we're going to take a deep dive into some of what he has said. I've already explained a few little things, but I want to go a little bit deeper into the thought process and the thinking that he has, so you better understand where he's coming from. Okay, so let's take a look here. Something to know about Hinduism, about their belief in sin and salvation. For them, Hinduism has no concept of sin against a holy God. Instead, it teaches that man's greatest problem is his ignorance that he is God. Okay, so this is the thought here. He wants to, and he encourages obtaining the mastery over the elements, as if one man can become God, because God ultimately is the creator of heaven and universe, and he is the one who created everything. You see, as a Christian, I'm a monotheist. I believe God is the creator. One God is the creator, and I am not God, and I do not have control over elements. But God does. He can create things out of thin air if he wants to. He speaks and it happens. He speaks it into existence, it's done. So in his thinking, in Hinduistic thinking, it's that man is God and man can control because God is within you and you are thus God. It's pantheism. It's also polytheism, hedonism. Basically, Hinduism, it's a designer religion. You can pick and choose what you want to believe. There's a set structure depending on which school you belong to, but there's tons of beliefs out there. There's tons of structures that you can pick and choose from. It's a designer religion. So the whole idea is you are God. You can control the elements if you just reach into yourself and pull out of yourself this power within to do it. This is spiritualistic evil, okay? We do not have power in and of ourselves. Power comes from God, and that power comes from having a right relationship with our Creator and with, of course, our Redeemer, Jesus Christ, who is God. In Hindu belief, since Brahman is all that exists, everything else is ultimately an illusion, or Maya. Our material world, our physical bodies, and our personal existence are all illusions. So it's all about escaping the illusion. That's why this dematerialism thing is important to him. The whole idea is we want to dematerialize. That's what he wants, and that's supposed to be escaping the illusion of this world and getting out of the cycle of rebirths. In essence, then, this writer says, Ray Comfort, in essence, our ignorance is equivalent to the fall of man. We have forgotten that we are part of Brahman and have attached ourselves to the desires of individual self. It is these desires and their consequences that bring suffering and that subject us to the law of karma. Though there is no concept of salvation, the goal of Hindus is to remove the karmic debt and end the cycle of rebirths. So somehow, through dematerializing and sort of separating oneself from the desires of the world, you can be reabsorbed into the great Brahman or Atman, the great spirit, the great one. It's a really interesting belief because as much as they are, hedonistic, sometimes atheistic, sometimes polytheistic, sometimes pantheistic, there also can be oftentimes some sort of weird monotheism going on. It's a really confused place of religion. It's really confused. It's Babylon, okay? It's confusion. So here we go. In the doctrine, we're going to compare doctrines about sin and salvation and God and suffering and the means of salvation. What I want you to see here for the means of salvation for the Hindu is detachment from desire, awareness of unity with the universal soul. You see, that's their means of salvation. That's why dematerialization to him makes sense. Because it's like, well, I got to become unified with the universal soul, with the great one. In order to do that, I have to detach from the world. I have to detach from desire and detach from this world. So dematerialization becomes generally the accepted means of doing that, or part of that salvific method. Results of salvation, you merge with Brahma, the divine, through effort. Okay? Christians believe it's about eternal fellowship with Christ and loving relationship. You see that? So they want to merge with Brahma. They want to merge with this great one. And how to do that is by getting out of the cycle of rebirths. And the rebirths happen here on this earth, right? So you become something, you die, you become something else, and so on. And you want to break that cycle. That's the idea that he has, which is totally ridiculous, okay? The Bible tells us that it is appointed unto men once to die, then the judgment. It's a deception of the devil to say that you can have multiple chances over eons. it is a lie from the pits of hell, because if you have a second chance, that means that, or a third or a fourth or a fifth chance, that means you can live any life you please, thinking that, okay, well, I'll get another shot next time. No, guess what? There is no other shot. You have this life. You have this one life to live. Then there's judgment. So you better live right and choose Jesus Christ now, because it's a lie. It's a lie to say that you're just going to be reincarnated as something else and just go on and do something else and be something else over and over and over again. And hey, it's not about detachment. You know, the Christian view and the Christian philosophy is it's about being attached with Jesus Christ through his word and through effort and through witness for him. I mean, the whole salvific experience is about being like God, having his character. And that's a wonderful thing, because Jesus is great and Jesus is wonderful. And he's not telling us to detach from the world. He's telling us, yeah, we are not of the world. We're in the world, but not of the world. But we have people to witness to and people to win and people to talk to and relationships to build. You see, Christianity is about building relationships with one another, not from detachment and trying to go into some, ascetic lifestyle where you try to detach from everyone and everything in order to gain nirvana or to gain some sort of detachment so you can be reabsorbed. I mean, that to me is not attractive at all, and it shouldn't be attractive to you as a means of salvation. That's why I believe Christianity is so much better. Another reason why Christianity is so much better. Now, he invokes Shiva. Here in this image, you see the dancing Shiva. Shiva has 4 arms and hands extending from his shoulders. The upper hands with the drum and the flame symbolize the forces of creation and destruction. So when you're invoking Shiva, in their belief, Shiva is also a destroyer. Oftentimes highlighted destroyer. He has his trident, he has his drum, his war drum, and he is going out to destroy. And so you have to placate Shiva. You have to be one with the Shiva. You have to make Shiva happy so that you're not destroyed. Now this is evil, that you somehow have to placate this destroying deity in order to live, in order to be, get out of the cycle of rebirths and so on. It's crazy. Like, I'm so thankful that I don't have to work on placating an angry God who's constantly angry at me and constantly trying to pin me down and trying to destroy me. No, I love the fact that God sent his only begotten Son to die for my sins so that I could be saved. That by taking on my sins and taking my sins upon himself, he paid the penalty for my sin, so that I could be saved. You see, God is a God of love, not of destruction and of pointing the finger and of beating you down. That's not Jesus. That's not God. And I thank so much Christianity. I love Christianity because it's all about a loving God, not a destroying God who's trying to beat you down and trying to ruin you and make sure you don't have salvation. Jesus is all about trying to give you ample opportunity for salvation and doing all possible to save your soul. I mean, such different character here in both religions. Hinduism versus Christianity, I think the choice is obvious. Christianity. The lower hands tell observers not to fear, for the Lord protects those who worship him. It's about placating the God so that he gets protection. His right foot treads on the demon ignorance. So the demon of ignorance. Okay, ignorance is a demon. It's all about enlightenment, becoming, more wiser and intelligent and reaching the nirvana. The Lord's dance within that circle of fire represents the incessant dancing energy that supports the action of the universe. It's really weird and unique because oftentimes Shiva is depicted as this destroyer, but also this duality exists where it's also a creator and a god to be placated. That's not for me. Now, if you study the Bible, Genesis to Revelation, you find that our God is vastly different. Of course, God does create. He's created all life, but he's there to preserve life, not to destroy. He loves when people turn to him and receive salvation. And he wants everyone to be saved, that there be no destruction. As a matter of fact, the Bible in Revelation tells me that the hellfire is for the devil and his angels. But because humanity chooses to follow the ways of sin and death, they end up joining the devil and his agents in the lake of fire. The lake of fire was never meant for humanity. It was meant only for the devil and his angels. God does not want to destroy anybody. He hates it. He doesn't want that. But again, the primary focus with Shiva is a destroyer. I mean, you just read the research. Just read about that deity, and you know. And so when I look at the Bible tells me that the destroyer, the murderer, the killer, the accuser of the brethren, his name is Satan. So no, I'm not going to revere Shiva because Shiva is a very good representation of the devil. No, thank you. And so my Hindu friend, I hope and I pray that if you're watching this today, that you choose a much better and wiser way. One of love rather than one of fear, rather than one of efforts and works in order to detach yourself, in order to control the elements, in order to disappear. No. So I hope and I pray you make the right decision. Jesus loves you, I love you, and if you have any questions, write them down in the comments below, and I hope and I pray I have time to answer them for you. If you want Bible studies, if you want anything with regards to Bible studies and knowing more about Jesus, reach out and I'll help you. So may God bless you and keep you until we study again.